Good evening, everyone. I'm Camille Ryan, and you're watching ntTV's online report. Yesterday afternoon, UNT President Neil Smatras released an unofficial message saying next semester the university will be returning to all in-person classes. He says he is confident that because of the rapid vaccine rollouts, in-person university life will be safe. Though many students are excited to be back in person, others are nervous as of yesterday. The mass majority of college students do not meet the qualifications to receive the vaccine. And this begs the question, will students be eligible to be vaccinated come summer to have the appropriate antibodies once the new semester starts up? According to newly released information, the Denton police officer arrested by the FBI Wednesday after accusations of distributing sexual images of minors, the 15-year police veteran is claimed to have knowingly received and distributed this material back late December. The accused has been placed on administrative leave after his arrest and could face 5 to 20 years of prison if convicted. Governor Greg Abbott stated earlier this week his plans for lifting the mask mandate. However, Denton County is hesitant to ease restrictions starting March 10th. The Denton ordinance is easing COVID restrictions, but Denton's Chamber of Commerce is urging businesses to operate at their own discretion. President Biden, in turn, condemned Governor Abbott's easing of restrictions.
The last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Bill Magnus, the president and CEO of ERCOT, has been fired by his board of directors. ERCOT says Magnus will be given 60 days of termination notice. This came after an emergency meeting Wednesday night, and ERCOT expects to start an immediate search for a replacement. Magnus has been fired because the blame has been placed onto him for ERCOT's power outages during the Texas snowstorms 2 weeks ago. Former House impeachment manager Eric Swalwell has filed the second major lawsuit to hold former President Donald Trump responsible for the Capitol insurrection. However, the main difference between this lawsuit and the previous is it includes Donald Trump Jr. and Representative Mo Brooks as defendants. Both cases are working their way up through Washington's federal court system and could even be heard by the same judge. Capitol Police want the National Guard to stay stationed at the Capitol these next few days because of new potential threats. There are talks of pro-Trump conspirators planning to storm the Capitol again. Capitol Police have requested a 2-month because of security concerns on top of Homeland Security and the FBI warnings of domestic extremist threats. Since President Joe Biden's inauguration, nearly 5,000 National Guard troops have been stationed in Washington, D.C. After 11 hours, Senator Ron Johnson read all 628 pages of the new COVID relief bill. The reading finished at 2 a.m. this morning, and the Senate had a small reprieve until 9 a.m. today. This afternoon, the GOP will likely start a vote-a-rama for the bill, and tonight is going to be another late night for the Senate chamber. Amendment votes could stretch out into early tomorrow morning. A Newport Northern State Correctional Facility has 130 inmates and 10 staff members that tested positive for COVID-19.
We still do not fully comprehend or understand how the virus got inside the facility.
After one employee tested positive, everyone in the facility was tested that same week to find out 21 inmates were positive as well. Inmates with the virus have been put into isolation. Contract tracing has reached a dead end, begging the question as to when and how did the virus get into the facility. Though to help slow down infection rates, this weekend staff members who have not been infected will receive the vaccine, and soon after, so will inmates. Yesterday, a horse race protest in California shut down a COVID-19 vaccine site. Activists at Golden Gate Field staged a peaceful protest for the track to shut down entirely. While protesters did delay the scheduled horse races, they did not expect to shut down the vaccination site on the other side of the track.
I'm hoping to find out exactly why we couldn't keep the vaccination site running while we had this going.
The Berkeley Fire Department that helps run the vaccination site was notified by police to evacuate the site around noon and then reopen around 3 p.m. It is not fully known why a peaceful protest led to the site turning away 200 people. A former police chief in Maryland is facing arson charges that span over a decade. Officials say this was all about revenge and that he targeted property of people he knew. He set fire to 3 houses while people were sleeping inside. Security footage and digital evidence found in his home helped link him to the crimes.
So through the digital evidence, it took us down a lot of paths to identify that he was actually doing research on some of it. There was definitely research done at some point on each of the victims by him.
And officials are speculating the former police chief has connections to fires outside of Maryland as well, because he has relatives in those places. A DNA test from a North Carolina woman revealed her biological father as an FBI wanted fugitive.
I had the option to check a little box that says I was an adopted child. I would be interested in finding siblings or other relatives. I thought, of course my father's a murderer.
The name of a man who the U.S. government has been trying to track down since the 1970s. He's accused of murdering his wife and 3 children, then burning and burying the bodies in shallow graves. Back in 2014, he was named the FBI's most wanted list. From learning about who her father is, Kathy says she's glad she didn't find out who he was until she was much older. You can follow us on our Twitter at ntTV_news for the latest. Thank you for watching. Join us again next week on ntTV's Online Report.